So today is Sunday and it is January 23rd, 2022. Pretty much a few days ago, both Neil and myself were basically joining a joint seminar or webinar from Real Estate Council of Alberta and with real estate partners across Alberta. And we basically were listening to the forecast from different presenters. There were three or different presenters which basically shared how much activity they are expecting in coming 2022. And before we share those details with you, I would like to introduce my trusted partner, real estate partner, Neil Thompson, with all of you. Neil is basically with Maxwell Polaris in Edmonton, and he has been a long-time realtor, a very detailed-oriented person, and knows his stuff, what he's doing in his everyday life. So Neil is my partner. We think alike, we work alike, and that's the reason why we are basically working together on this seminar to give you the full details about what we learned. We will be sharing all that in detail. Neil, welcome.
Thank you, Preet. Thank you for such a kind introduction. The feeling is 100% mutual. I love to work with you. I love sending my clients to you because I know that they're in good hands. I know you're going to take care of them. I know you're absolutely detail-oriented. I know there's zero BS factor coming from you. If it can be done, you're going to tell somebody that. And
Absolutely.
I've never had an experience where I shared a client with you that you didn't come out, getting a new customer, helping them out, being completely and totally honest with them, and just absolutely knowing your stuff cold. Anytime I have a question on the market, where interest rates are going, my constant bond yield rate question to you, you're always able to answer for me and happy to share with me your knowledge, which is vast, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Neil. Thanks for that. So we have our followers waiting for that information. So I will jump in right away with the first thing people are always talking about, the market and the interest rates. So every information, myself and Neil were talking about this webinar just a few minutes ago. Every information is so much intermingled, and there's so much reliance on each topic, what we discuss, everything is basically linked to the other factor, real estate or everything. So bottom line, in 2021, we all know 2020 and 2021, there was a lot of uncertainty. But within that uncertainty, real estate was the main key economic driver that was basically moving everything all together. So it was the new construction, resale of home, everything. So interest rate wise, what we learned from this seminar just happened on January 19th, that interest rates in 2022 will definitely rise. They will definitely go up. So it could be possible that this 26th, 3 days from now, there could be a first rate increase happening with the variable rate in interest side. The Government of Canada or Bank of Canada may be there. There is a chance, 25%, let me put a figure, 25% chance that Bank of Canada may increase the rates by 25 cents this coming Wednesday. If it does not happen this Wednesday, the next one is due in March. The review is due in March. So the projected is that the interest rates on the variable side will definitely go up, and same time when the variable will go up on the variables on the prime rate side, the fixed rates will also follow, and they are totally different. They are tied to each other. They are totally evaluated differently, but they basically tend to follow each other. Neil, what do you have to add on your basically interest rate side?
Absolutely. So some of the presenters, one of the presenters was Mr. Benjamin Tal, the Deputy Chief Economist from CIBC Capital Markets. And Benjamin was saying that there could be 5 to 6 interest rate jumps this year. So that's, I'd say that's probably on the high side. I've heard 3 or 4 would be expected. So obviously the federal bank, one of the ways that they can cool an interest or real estate market is to increase interest rates. When interest rates go up, prices tend to level off. I believe a 1% interest rate increase will decrease a buyer's purchasing power by 10%. Is that accurate, Preet? Somewhere around there?
So somewhere around there, yes, absolutely. The momentum, absolutely. As soon as the interest rates will go up, the momentum will shift. The perspective about the market will shift, right? And that could lead to any number, right? So it depends. The biggest thing, Benjamin Tall, both of us will reference Benjamin Tall in this live video more because he was the key presenter. The biggest thing that he stressed was whenever he's talking to Bank of Canada, he's telling them that Bank of Canada should be basically doing interest rate increases, yes, definitely to control the market in Toronto and Vancouver. But what he's suggesting them is that the Bank of Canada should be doing baby steps, not basically increasing them in back to back, basically by 1% or 0.5%, right? That would be basically derailing the market, and it will be basically a big shock to the market, overall market, right? So his key point was that the rapid interest rate, the interest rate hike is not the problem. The rapid interest rates is the biggest problem. So the baby steps is the key. So if you're going Bank of Canada or Government of Canada, if Lynn is listening to our podcast, we would also request them that if you could basically increase it in baby steps, that is the key point. So real estate will be strong, what we learned in 2022. Am I right, Neil? What do you hear from the other presenters?
So going back to 2021 and 2020, I always talk about how the normal timing and functioning and pace of the market, and then the COVID overlay. So COVID made the market do things that were completely unpredictable. Everybody thought that we would spiral into a recession. Well, real estate actually did the opposite. The total volume of the market in Edmonton was up to 24,652 total units sold. To give you a perspective on that, an average year would be somewhere around 17,000. So we were up on total volume substantially. Inventory was down. So we had an event that lots of people anybody in the wrong space wanted to move to the right space. So real estate became very important over the past couple of years. If you're quarantined in the wrong space, you want the right space. People that no longer have to work in an office environment, that can work from the home office like us, maybe they want to be in the acreage. If they don't have to have a commute to the city, they might want a lot of more space. So interesting effect with the COVID overlay on the market, in that the market was pushed out. So acreages, things that are not typically super popular segments, were really popular in the market. There was one point that Paul Gravel brought up where he said that record prices were achieved in Beaumont, Fort Saskatchewan, Sherwood Park, Spruce Grove, St. Albert, and the city of Edmonton. So 2021 was a record-breaking price point for a lot of different segments in the market. So super interesting times. Great time to be a realtor and a mortgage broker. And I want to make sure that we're not being insensitive to other people that may have struggled through COVID. Real estate was one of the key drivers in the Alberta economy. It's the number 2 driver in the economy. And so as a byproduct, realtors, mortgage brokers have had an extremely busy year. And thankfully, people consider housing to be really important right now. So going into 2022, looks like we are low on inventory again. So the rate at which the market will change is based on the total volume of sales in the market divided by what the absorption rate is per month. So total number of properties on the market divided by the number of properties that are sold per month gives us our absorption rate. Absorption rate will indicate whether it's a seller's market, a balanced market, or a buyer's market. And right now, with less than 4 months of inventory, we are in a seller's market still. So if anybody's looking to list their property, it's a great time to be on the market.
Absolutely.
Typically, historically, December, January are two slowest months of the year. So inventory's typically low, but what I'm seeing is that there's not a lot of great options for people, and there are definite buyers in the market that are ready, willing, and able to purchase. Part of that is not only income, but also gifting. So you probably see this a lot, Preet. A lot of families are moving money around, and we're seeing the greatest generational transfer of wealth from parents and grandparents down to kids that are looking to get into the market. So I think it was like 1 in 3 Canadians is having part of their down payment composed of a gift portion. Then the mover up segment, 10% of the move up segment is receiving gifts. So there's a transition of wealth, and also a lot of people that think it's a really good time to get into the market.
Absolutely. Yeah, the gifting has been basically a very, let's say, important topic in many different, let's say when I'm conversing with my clients, gifting is always coming up. How much gift they can take, how much they cannot take, what clients can take the gift and what clients cannot take the gift. Those things are definitely coming up. And what Benjamin Toll talked about was consumer spending and the cash surplus that is sitting in an average household. Even when I remember when I listened to him last year presentation or some other presentation when I was listening to him, he was talking about roughly $300 billion sitting in excess cash that basically all the people who have that money are waiting for the green light, as per him, are waiting for the green light. And as soon as that green light is there, they will be spending that money. And that money will pass on. It will go, it will diversify, it will go everywhere. It will be basically RESPs, RRSPs, mutual funds, everywhere. But keep in mind that some portion of that money will also come towards real estate. And that, other than 300 billion, he also talked about $90 billion that is also sitting in the deposit accounts, which is basically our checking savings account, right? So that money is available, and that money will be definitely passed on to the as you said, Neil, to the
future generations.
Grandkids. Maybe it will be, as he said, it will be skipping one generation totally, and it will be passed on. The grandkids will be passing that money to. Grandparents would be passing that money to the grandkids, and that money would be used. Average gift that he was talking in Vancouver area was $340,000, which is a big amount. $340,000, you can buy a property in Edmonton, like let's say a starter home, in $340,000 if you really want to really live in that property, right? So, like I was baffled with that number.
Me too.
Sorry?
Me too. I was absolutely baffled by that number. He did say what a gift that is. And
so according to him, 10% of the money that is coming in as a gift is in the range of $150,000. Across Canada, average money that is gifted is $80,000. That's what the stats he shared with all of us. So other things that Benjamin Toll and other presenters talked about was immigration. And this is a topic which is very less talked about, and sometimes the impact of immigration is very less discussed about. So there has been interprovincial immigration or international immigration. So last year, what Benjamin Toll talked about was 70% of the people that were new to Canada were from within Canada. They were basically work permit class, or let's say students before, and their status was changed in basically, let's say 1 minute, but their address did not change. They were living in Canada. So only 30% immigrants came out of Canada because of COVID. Our borders were not open, and we were not accepting people outside Canada. So this immigration, how basically immigration ties up to the demand and supply is basically now these people are basically they are readily available to spend that money, and they are more employable what his point was that these people they're ready to go and become an employee of a company, which means is the gap when they land in Canada to purchase a property in Canada has shortened. It's a smaller gap now. And when that smaller gap is smaller, which means there are more buyers or let's say more people in the market to buy a certain property. And that has basically also added, other than the low interest rates happening last year, the immigration also basically helped to pent up that demand. And this year, 2022, that demand will still be there, the interprovincial migration happening, and especially when I was looking at Paul's presentation, the last slide on his presentation was Edmonton was the most affordable city across Canada. Right?
Absolutely.
Even better than Calgary. Like, let's look at the numbers as when we compare them to Calgary and Edmonton. It was the most affordable city, and even today, like in a week, I will basically one call basically a day coming in from other clients sitting in BC, Toronto, who would like to move into Edmonton or Alberta otherwise. And they want to make Alberta their home. So the impact is huge.
Yeah.
Right, Neil?
Absolutely. Well, Alberta's always had a strong economy with the resource-based sector, oil and gas typically. A lot of people, like, I guess, across the country, oil and gas development and resource exploitation isn't looked favorably. However, it's kind of the bread and butter of Alberta. And I think it's important to look at, like, when a lot of people look at the market, you have to decipher the statistics. So they'll look at Canada as a whole. You made the distinction, Toronto and Vancouver are different from the market. Then there's the whole center of the country that gets grouped in the same pool as Toronto and Vancouver markets. And it's quite honestly different. Alberta has high employment, or very low unemployment. Like it went in 2020 from 15.6% down to 6.4% or something like that.
6.6, yeah, 6.4, yeah.
Yeah, so we have really low unemployment. We have tons of resources, and I think coming out of an economic slump and an event like COVID, people are going to continue to consume oil and gas resources, and hopefully our province can transition out of that. But there's a lot of strong economic fundamentals for people to move to Alberta, especially that affordability. Like, talking about Vancouver market gifting $350,000. If you had $350,000 gifted to you for a house in Edmonton, you'd have a pretty nice house. Not just $350,000, but plus a mortgage. Yeah, a decent starter home. I mean, looking even in the market under $200,000, you're going to get a condo. Above $300,000, you're going to start in a starter home. 4 to 5 is a kind of a move up market, and then anything above 5, you start to get good bedrooms, bigger properties. So, anyways, there's a lot of really great economic fundamentals for people moving to Alberta, and really strong affordability in Edmonton specifically over Calgary. Yeah, higher cost of living in Calgary, more expensive real estate. It's always been a stronger market. I always look to the Calgary market to see what might be coming for the Edmonton market, and usually if something happens there, 4 to 6 months, we'll see it come here as well.
Yeah. There is I'm not sure if there's a question. Yeah, there is a comment that looks like tech sector in Alberta is growing and doing well. Absolutely, I agree with that.
Do you know who that is?
Years ago, I never heard IT companies basically establishing in Edmonton, but I have seen a couple of people talking to me that their IT companies are basically establishing some base hold here in Edmonton, especially with very strong programs from University of Alberta in computing science and computer science, right? So there is definitely tech sector growing up.
That's our mutual friend, Mr. Jamie Young. Hi, Jamie.
Okay, that's Jamie.
It looks like he's watching our Insta Live from Costa Rica. Lucky, the tech sector has certainly benefited Jamie. He's managed to grow his startup company to the point that he's able to work remotely in Costa Rica. Jamie,
wonderful.
You're living the dream, buddy.
Thanks for joining us, Jamie.
Yeah.
So moving further, we will sum up this live video, right, Neil? Do you have any other major point that comes to your mind?
I was just going to go over some highlights. So average prices. So 2021 single family homes were up 6.6%. Condos were up 3.7%. Duplexes were up 5.7% over what they forecast. So they usually forecast conservatively like 3% growth, 4% growth. This year is supposed to be 3% growth. However, I feel like it might be closer to the 6.4 that we had for all residential. It looks like we're what economists are forecasting is that we're going to transition from pandemic status to endemic status. So they're going to try to cool the real estate market this year by raising interest rates. So that's really important. If anybody is looking to get into the market, you may want to contact Preet for a rate hold. Rate holds,
Absolutely.
You can lock up the rate or hold a rate for up to 120 days. Is that
120
correct?
days. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So rate hold might be a good thing if you're considering either. You can rate hold for refi as well, Preet?
Refinance, yes, we can. We can postpone the closing date on the refinance, put a rate hold today, and postpone the closing date for, let's say, 120 days. That way, it becomes a part of the pre-approval or, let's say, the conditional approval. Yeah.
And if you're looking to get into the Edmonton market, it's a great time to get some information. What I find is it's good to know how far your money will travel. So when you're looking to get into the market, give me a call, give Preet a call. We'd love to help you. Hopefully we have another dynamite year in 2022 like we did in 2021.
Yeah. Last thing on my mind, Neil, would you like to share our viewers something about what you are hearing from the builder market? That's the question that I am always listening. Basically, as a realtor, I'm pretty much sure you have connections in the builder market, right? So tons of connections. What do you hear from them?
So we're seeing things like Jamin having only builder financing. So instead of bringing, if you're non-conventional mortgage, Jamin has instituted a new policy where they can only allow their JFI to finance a property, which would seem like an anti-competitive policy, but I think they're in a situation where they have more buyers than properties available to sell, so they can kind of dictate the terms for their buyers. There's an ebb and flow between realtors and builders. When the market's strong, builders don't need realtors as much, and so they come out with policies that are like not friendly towards realtors. When the market slows down, builders and realtors are best friends, and hopefully we're always best friends, right? We want to bring our pre-qualified clients to the new build. 2021, they ramped up inventory. Obviously, that's looking to get absorbed in 2022. I don't have the latest stats on new housing starts for 2022, but looks like I'm guessing builders are going to go at it again this year pretty hard.
Yeah, no, the gap between the housing starts and completion was huge in 2021. So this year in 2022, that gap would be shortened because those pre-sale homes are already in construction, and maybe they have some other quick possessions also coming up. So there could be possibility, but this will basically ease off some pressure from. I'm hoping it will ease off some pressure on the listing side, right? So
it's gonna be an interesting year. I'm looking for listings, so that's you got to list to last, and it's a lot easier to work with listings because there's 3,500 other agents that are going to go out and sell these properties. So good luck in 2022. Preet, I am so sad that we couldn't have breakfast together and watch this forecast in person. Now we had to do it through Zoom. Not sure I would want to go back. I sure like to be able to watch a forecast from my home office. The commute was a lot less. The breakfast wasn't as good, but it was still awesome. Thank you, Preet, for inviting me. Sorry about my technical difficulties.
No worries. Okay, sounds good, guys. Thank you very much for joining in, and probably we'll be doing the same kind of information sessions in the future as soon as we hear more. Fingers crossed. My fingers crossed that this time in 2022 we have more, let's say, balanced market going further, and there's not much push to buy unconditional offers and that kind of stuff, because that makes it crazy. And then the service levels on each front, basically, they are not sustainable. So wishing you all of the best for in 2022. And if any other questions, as Neil mentioned, feel free to call us, tag us on any other Instagram or social media posts, and we'd be happy to help you out. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Neil. Thanks for your time today.
Have a great day. Yeah.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.